Welcome to the Connectable podcast.
The Connectable podcast starts in 3, 2, 1.
I'm going to start off this way. I'm going to say this. I don't know if everybody out there has heard this analogy about the frog in the boiling pot of water. But if you throw a frog in the water and it's boiling, the frog is going to jump out immediately. And if you put the frog in the pot of water and it's cold, and then you slowly turn the heat up, then it will just kind of chill there. And then, it may not be good for the frog. That's what's happening right now with Travis Cole. He is the frog. The podcast is the pot of water. And this is his third appearance on this podcast. When a couple of years ago, he said he wouldn't do a podcast with me. And now look at this. Now, in fact, he came up with this idea for this episode. It's happening, man.
I did.
I was going to respect your wishes, but you hopped in the pot. And I'm like, all right, turn the heat up a little bit.
You inspired me, Josh. You inspired me. And it inspired a new idea for you.
There you
and
go.
I brought myself back into it.
God, I think you're going to say you were going to start a podcast of your own. Like, oh.
No, I'm not. Definitely not. 100% not.
Always glad to have you on the show today. And just for anybody who knows, like we're recording this, we're going to release this the Friday before Father's Day, but we're recording this a couple weeks early just because of our schedules. But if you listen to Trav's last episode, at the very end we kind of talked about the potential of doing a Father's Day episode, and here we are. So I think it's a great idea, man. We're both dads, different stages of fatherhood, and so. It's all good though, because I'm hoping I can learn a little something from you and walk me through some of the challenges we're dealing with right now.
Yeah. Oh man, who doesn't deal with the challenges, right? I think that's part of being a dad.
I think so. So let's start off this way. I'm just going to start off, and I think people, people know this, but I have two very young daughters. One's 2.5, and then one is as of today, 5.5 weeks. Nice. 5 weeks in a day. So very young, definitely on the younger side. So I'm definitely new to the game. But how about yourself, Trav? How many do you have?
My oldest is girl Ella, and she is 10. She just turned 10. And then I have our middle boy, Brooklyn. He is 7, almost 8. And then our youngest is Jude, and he just turned 5 in March. So got 3 at 10, 7, and 5. So I feel like I'm like at the veteran stage right now, but don't have it together. But I feel like I have a lot of experience to some degree. Not like that teenager stage, nothing like that. But yeah, I've been riding this out for 10 years, and I got 3.
That's awesome, man. I have so many questions. This is gonna be a long episode. I can tell. We're gonna try to cap it at a certain time, but I have so many thoughts based on what you just said. First of all, you mentioned, you're not at the teenage stage yet, but anybody who knows you knows that you're big into fashion. And how is it going to be? Like, you're going to be a better dressed guy than a lot of these dudes that are going to high school. You know what I mean? That's going to be weird, right? They're going to be getting you for fashion advice. I take some pride in like dropping my kids off at school. I try to like look cooler than the kids that are in Ella's class as far as like having cool shoes on, or, no, I don't try to, but I did get a compliment from like all of her little guy friends in her class. Like, your dad has the coolest shoes. And I was like, they recognize it. Yeah. That's awesome.
So, I enjoy fashion. But that was kind of kidding. I don't try to show them up. But
it's okay.
Yeah. Anyway.
Hey, go for it, man. No, you know what? We try to keep it as real as possible on this podcast. I've talked to my brother.
Yeah.
I'm not into fashion like you are. But I like to think that I try to dress. I don't want to get to the dad stage. You know what I mean? Where
totally.
So I'm trying to fight that. You're so many steps ahead of me because you're just more fashion forward. Me, it's like I've got to be very conscious of it. Like, I can't be rolling into the school with jeans and running shoes. You know what I mean?
Oh man, do it.
Like the New Balance. I can't do it.
Yeah, the New Balance dad shoe. Or hey, that's like really fashionable these days. Fashion is too hard to keep up with these days. I don't think I'm fashionable anymore. Like I told Mel the other day, like we went to church on Sunday the other day and I was literally in running, like Nike running shorts, some Nike tennis shoes and like a big t-shirt. And Mel's like, we got out of the car and she's like, what are you wearing? I was like, it's hot. Like, I just want to be comfortable, right? Like it's like 100 degrees out. And, so yeah, I was like, I told her, I was like, I don't have like, I have a lot of athleisure wear and I just typically wear that every day. And, but yeah, it can get me in trouble because I'm like comfort over fashion oftentimes. So.
Well, you could have fooled me, dude, because I feel like you're doing both. My brother gives me a hard time all the time about the athleisure stuff because, especially now, because I'm teleworking 3 out of the 5 days of the week. 5 of the 7 days of the week, I'm wearing athleisure wear. It's basketball shorts,
exactly.
Tank tops. Like, I don't even think I wear sleeves during the summer. I think all tank tops. In fact, I was working out the other day, and as you know, I like to put my GoPro up. I just enjoy doing it.
I love it.
And I was doing some this circuit workout with this hydro bag that I have, and my arms looked jacked in one picture, and then like a picture later, I'm like, no, that's the real picture right there. My arms aren't really like that.
But you use the jacked one.
Heck yeah, of course I do. Yeah, I made sure to show my wife too. It's like, you didn't see me working out outside, but this is what you missed, just so you know. And she's like, yeah, but I see the real arms, and it's not that impressive.
Yeah,
right. That's fine. But I feel like something I've thought about before with being a dad, and I'm wondering if you feel the same way. I feel like, especially now having 2 kids, both who are very high energy, and I said, like, the one's only 5 weeks, we can tell she's going to be high energy. And
you
the
can
2.5, you can definitely tell, and the 2.5-year-old is definitely high energy, running all the time, which we love because she's just super active and she's just super healthy. Right. But there's that thing where we've got to keep up with her. And I feel like last time you were on this podcast, we were talking about, fitness, ways we like to stay healthy. For me, that's one of the biggest motivators to keep doing that stuff, because I feel like I'm able to do it now because I feel like I'm in decent shape right now. And it's like, I can actually keep up with her, and I'm not like just, slogging around. Sure. Like, I'm so tired. Yeah. So do you feel like with like all the stuff that you do as far as fitness and being active, do you feel like that is that part of your mindset, trying to stay up with your kids?
It's definitely a conscious decision where I want to show them that I'm disciplined and dedicated to doing like hard workouts, and that I'm trying to take care of myself and conscious of what I'm eating. Cause like Mel and I haven't been good parent. Me specifically, I haven't been a very good parent of like feeding them healthy foods always. Like we give them junk a lot, just like easy snack food in their lunches. Nothing like, we try to sub in some healthy stuff, but they're picky, and it comes down to being our faults, right? Like the way that we raised them. And we're learning and we're trying to be better about it. But like, I try not to eat a lot of crap. I obviously go through my phases where I do, and I'll eat candy or ice cream with them and stuff too. But yeah, it's definitely a conscious decision where I try to be a good role model in that way, because it's something I actually care about, and I hope that they would care about it too as they get older. So, but yeah, I love the fact that I definitely have energy to play. Like, I'll get done working out oftentimes in the morning, and then, later that day, I'll be drugged to go playing football with my boys, or baseball, or like just different things like that. So, I love being able to be active with them. That's like my way of interacting. Like, I know how to do that more than I do like sit down and teach them how to read. Like, that's not my thing. Right. Should be, but yeah. I'd much rather go outside or run to a park or go swimming, like just do outdoorsy stuff. So yeah, for sure. No, I don't know about you, man. I take it as like a challenge when I like, so I ran 10 miles this morning, and then I know in my mind I'm gonna have to be active and play with, especially our 2.5-year-old. It's gonna, we're gonna be wrestling around or chasing her or something like that. And now it's like a challenge. Right. Like, you will not break me. Like, I know I worked out, but like I can't lose to you. I can't like tire out before you tire out. So it's a good mental game for me too. You know what I mean? I'm at the point where I definitely don't tire out. they can outlast me for sure every time. Like
Yeah.
I'll definitely be the first one to be like, all right, guys, I need a break. I'm wiped. It's funny. When I go to like a place like Wacky Tacky, you see a lot of parents just kind of sitting off to the side on their phones, playing on their phones, or even at parks. Oftentimes you see, not in all cases, but you see it a lot.
Sure.
And I always am like, I don't want to be that parent. So I'm like, I'm going to go, like, it motivates me to interact with my kids and run around and play hide and go seek and freeze tag. And I'm just like drenched in sweat by the end. I feel like I got to work out. But yeah. I look at that. I'm like, I don't want to be like that. Like I want to be interactive and get up and play. So I always try to do that. I'm not perfect at it, but it's definitely a motivating factor for sure.
Oh, I think that's so important. I think, because I think it is easy to just roll into like a playtime or quality time with your kids as just part of your regular day, and just keep texting or be on social media the whole time. But you know, again, I feel like people have told me this a lot since becoming a dad, and I'm sure you've heard this too. It's like, don't miss out on any moment. Don't miss out, or don't take any moment for granted. And I think it's almost impossible to avoid. I don't think you can pay attention to every single moment. I think there's going to be times where you get distracted and you miss moments, and you look back and it's like, dang, I wish I would have done that better. But that's such an easy one. Like the one at the park with the phone. It's like, just put the phone away and hang out with kids, because those moments go by so quickly. And we've only been doing it for 2.5 years, but I always look back and think, man, there are certain moments that it really does. You think it's like a cliche thing to say, but it's so true. Mm-hmm. Those things fly by. So I feel like people have got to, put the phones down. The phone's going to be there later.
Definitely, man. It's one of those things. I recently heard, this was like some really good dad advice for me that like has stuck with me over the past few months. Craig Rochelle, he's a pastor of a big church in like Oklahoma, I believe. And he was talking about not missing opportunities. And he said he would get asked, you'd be sitting on the couch at home on a Saturday afternoon and just relaxing, watching a game or playing on your phone, whatever it is. And, your kids come down and ask you to do something. And it's so easy to be like, oh, I'm tired. I'm resting. I just had a long day. Let me, relax for a little while. And then kind of get out of it, right? Like just kind of get out of that moment, and like they forget about it, and then you move on. And I've done that a million times. Like I've been in that place where I've done that, but ever since I heard that, like, don't miss out on those opportunities, because they'll remember those things, right? They'll always remember the interactive times that like you chose to get up and play with them. Like those are going to be amazing memories for them and for myself, right? So but it was just one of those things that always stuck with me since I heard it. I'm like, I want to be very conscious of not saying no if I don't have to, right? So obviously there's different times when stuff comes up where I actually am busy or whatnot, trying to do some work stuff. But just being very conscious of like, why am I saying no right now? Is it because I'm just being lazy and don't want to go play? And that's often what it is, right? So but yeah, that was something that really stuck with me. That's helped me. It was funny, even right before, like at 7:00, my boy comes down and he's like, "Hey dad, you want to go play catch?" And I was like, I gotta set up for this podcast I'm doing at 8:00. And I was like, well, shoot, that's like an hour away. So I was like, I knew we were talking about this stuff and I was going to bring this subject up. And I was like, I have to, like, it was like one of those things that I definitely didn't want to go do that right now. And just went out and we played for like 20-25 minutes or so. So, I don't know, that means just the world moments to him, like though. That. Yeah.
Like 20 minutes is like such a short time, but like you said earlier, it means the world to that little guy in the moment.
Right.
Yeah. No, that's great advice. I think, something I've talked to my wife, Rachel, about over the last couple of years was, it's interesting. I feel like parenting and becoming a dad has made me realize how both selfish and selfless I can be. You know what I mean? And
totally.
It's a very bizarre thing. And you always hear, at least I always heard people talk about how it teaches you how to be selfless. But then you get into it, it's like, dang, there's moments where I'm super selfish. And it's moments like that where it's like, I don't want to do this. Or, you in your mind, you're complaining. And it's like,
Yeah.
man, and then you look back, it's like, well, I'm a 32-year-old baby. That's what's happening here. Like
Yeah,
my daughter is more
exactly.
mature than I am, and I'm throwing a fit in my mind because there's something I
Right.
don't want to do. But it's like I think it's
Totally.
an interesting thing that I've learned over the course of just these 2.5 years, and I'm sure it's going to continue to develop as I go down this parenting road. But it is an interesting dynamic. It's like both selfish and selfless, and you get really strong examples of both throughout the
Right.
days and the weeks.
Totally. What about you? Is there anything that stands out to you about maybe something you've learned that so like being a dad in maybe you learned something about yourself that you didn't realize, or something that some good advice that you got for being a dad? Is anything like that is on your mind that you would share?
Yeah, for sure, man. I think there's a couple of things. I think so. As far as the advice, it does go back to what I said earlier about not taking the moments for granted. And
Yeah.
my mom, shout out to my mom. She got me a book.
Yeah.
It's an awesome book and it's a horrible book all at the same time. It's basically just, I can't remember the name of the book, but I don't read it often because I can't handle it. Because I'm a big baby. I've said on this podcast before, especially like having kids, like just it's like when I had kids, the tear ducts just like got bigger. It's like, oh, you can just cry at any moment now. And so with this book, it's talking about like not taking the moments for granted, and basically it's just like a kid's book, but it takes them like through like birth to graduation or getting married. It's like,
right.
Like I was like reading the book and like tear drops on the page. I'm like, oh, I don't want to do this.
So funny how you can go down that. Yeah, I know.
Man, and it's brutal, but it's like it's been ever since she gave me that book, though. It's been a really good reminder. It's like I said, don't take anything for granted, because you don't know what's going to be the last moment. You don't know what's going to be the last moment.
Right.
This or that with them, and it's like it sucks to think about, but I think
it
makes you appreciate it more when you do think about it in the moment. You know what I mean? As difficult and as challenging as some of those moments are. Like I said, I'm just getting started. So now that we have 2 kids, there's obviously a lot more challenges. In fact, one of the challenges right now, man, is I don't know if you went through this with your kids, but my 2.5-year-old has decided that she's not the biggest fan of me. And I think she's wanting attention from mama and the new baby.
Yeah.
And there's that little battle there.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, I'm like, hey, you want to play? And she's like, no, I'm not gonna play with you, Pops.
No.
And then just walks away. And so, but it's weird because like 2 months ago, like she was just with me all the time. We were playing all the time, and she's like, we just always chasing down wanting to play. And now she's like, that's enough. Yeah, that's enough, clown.
They do that, man. They totally do that. They go through phases of like, especially at that early age where they're trying to, I don't know, gain one parent's maybe attention more than the other. Like you said, I'm sure Rachel's a lot with the baby, so she's trying to get her attention. She hasn't been getting it. So, but yeah, it's so funny. I think they definitely go. I can remember a bunch of times where one was really clingy towards me, and then all of a sudden they weren't, and they were clingy towards Mel, and you're kind of like, what? Like, what happened?
I was like, what happened?
Like, what?
I'm pretty dope. Like, I'm not trying to brag, but I'm kind of a dope guy.
I take you to do fun things. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. I'm like, I'm sorry you forgot that cool thing we did 5 minutes ago. Now I'm like your worst enemy.
Yeah.
That's funny. Hey, let me ask you this. We're kind of bouncing all over the place. When we had our first daughter, and I know every parent probably gets this. Every person that sees the baby wants to say, oh, they look like this person, or they look like that person, or they don't look like any of you. Who does this belong to? And so that's what, when we had our first one, people kept saying she looked like me. And I'm like,
okay,
that's weird because I don't see it. Now with your second child, your first boy, your second child, that dude looks exactly like you. Now you have to see that, right? Because I feel like some parents can't see it, but like you have to be able to see that because it's like a carbon copy. It's like they took your face and put it on a little person.
Yeah. We get it all the time. I mean, anytime we're together, like in stores, like we'll get a comment oftentimes about how they're like, man, that kid looks identical to you, or like, and it's funny. I don't totally see it like at this stage, but when you put our pictures together, though, when we were really little, I see we look a lot alike, and I can see that. But I don't translate the adult to the child face very well. I like my wife's always doing this for like newborn babies. Like, oh, that baby looks just like the mom or that the dad. I'm like, no, it doesn't. That looks like a newborn baby. The face looks kind of funny, and
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't tell who the child looks like.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's always like analyzing that stuff, and I'm not good at that, I guess. But yeah.
That's funny. Well, it must just be a parent thing, because like I said, I think anybody who would look
Yeah.
at your especially your middle son and you, it's like,
Yeah.
that's like I said, a carbon copy. But
It is.
people said that about me
Yeah.
too, and like they're like, that's white Josh.
Yeah.
Like, white Josh. I'm like, I don't see it at all. And it was funny. I used to do this. I still do this every once in a while, and the reaction is the best part, because you don't know what kind of reaction you're going to get. And it was especially fun at Capitol. Like I would do this to people on a Sunday morning. Not the best group to do this specific joke, but they would see the baby for the first time. They're like, "Oh my gosh, she's so blonde and so white." I said, "Yeah." I said, "We're trying to figure out who the dad is, but I don't know." I love her, but
yeah.
And some people are like, they're really trying to decide, like, is he being serious? Because
Yeah,
a really white baby. So I always enjoyed that. I always enjoyed saying that, because you get some strange
Putting them in tough
reactions.
spots.
Yeah.
Right.
And some people was like, okay, well, good luck with that.
Right.
Totally.
That's funny,
yeah,
man.
It's okay. Let me ask you. Okay, I hope this is not. If this is revealing too much, then please just tell me.
There's nothing.
So perfect. We'll find out. So,
right.
So Rachel has and is breastfeeding. Has breastfed both kids, and so
right.
I don't know what your guys' situation was like, but if that was your guys' situation, tell me this as a dad, if you've had this fear.
Yeah.
This has come up a little bit recently. So our newest daughter, she will sleep on my chest sometimes. And so I'll lay on the couch and she'll sleep on my chest. And then she starts moving her face. And I swear that little sucker is trying to latch. And it terrifies me. Because I'm like, especially if I'm wearing a tank top, like she'll kind of like claw at my shirt. I'm like, hey. Yeah. Like there's like true panic inside me. It's like, no. I'm not mama. You're not going to get what you need here. And but I had that moment today. I'm like,
that is good. No, I never had that. Actually, the reason being is our kid, my wife, with like the first, I think all three of them, she tried like breastfeeding, but always had issues with it. So
got it.
Never lasted very long, like maybe a month or 2 months. So it wasn't a natural thing for our kids. But that's probably why. If I ever experienced that, I would be the same way. I'd be tripping. I'd be like,
And I know she's not doing it, but like there's still like you hear a little lip smack. Like, hey.
Yeah.
Like, let's just watch the baseball game in peace. Let's not try to do that to dad. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I just had to ask. Like I said, you have one more child than I do, so I figured you might have ran into that problem. But good. I'm glad you didn't. I'm just gonna have to live in fear until she stops breastfeeding.
Oh man, that's good.
Something else that I think is just funny, and again, I don't know if you've experienced this, but obviously, once you start having kids and they start getting kind of towards that toddler age, I think most people can say whatever they want about them not letting their kids watch TV or kids TV shows. Mm-hmm. Usually at some point people break down. I don't know if you guys are like that, but we have, our daughter definitely has some of her favorite shows and some of her favorite like Disney movies. And it's at the point now where the funny thing is Rachel and I both really enjoy like Pixar movies and Disney movies. So the idea of rewatching these movies over and over doesn't even bother me. I know some people, it's like, oh, I don't want to watch Cars for the third time. Like we enjoy these movies. So we don't care. But the problem is now we're like psychoanalyzing these movies where we're like, Moana would never do that. Like, I don't think that was something that she would have actually done, or like her relationship with her dad's kind of weird. Like we're really going too deep into these movies because we've seen it for like the 100th time.
For sure.
So do you find yourself doing stuff like that?
It's funny because I feel like I used to be very, we would watch a lot of like Disney movies and stuff with our kids, and I feel like they're kind of out of that stage. They still like to, but they're in like our older two are into like some YouTube stuff, and we're very particular about who they watch, and only allow them watch like a couple really good families, like family vlogs and stuff. But then they're on like kids YouTube and stuff too. But But yeah, they're never from day one were like big Disney fans or big Disney movie fans, like to sit and watch a movie. They were too active. Like we couldn't get them to sit and watch a movie ever. Like just today it's funny. We're talking about this. Today was the first time we went to the movie theater since COVID, like before COVID.
Oh, cool.
We hadn't been to the movie theater, and we took all of our kids today to like Raya and the Last Dragon or something like that. It's a Disney movie.
Sure.
And it was funny. We got out of the movie. We're like, dude, all of our kids sat still for the entire movie. Like Jude, our youngest, is 5 now, and before he was like 3 at the last movie that we ever went to. And at some point in the movie, I would be up and walking through the lobby of the movie with Jude back and forth, taking him to the bathroom, like just like never sitting still, right? To like, it was hard to enjoy a movie. So it was rare, but yeah, like picking up on like different things, you definitely watch it from like a parent perspective. Like, what is it like? How are my kids translating this into their minds? What's going on right now? Or so you definitely find yourself doing that. I did that today. But yeah, you kind of like wait to hear their opinion sometimes. Like I'm always like, so what'd you guys think? Like, what'd you like about it? You know, and usually they don't pick up on any of the stuff that a parent would be picking up on. So it doesn't make me worry like too much. But like as a child, my parents were very protective of like what I watched. And like I remember we went to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like the real life ones, when it came out in the theater. So I was like really young, and we got up and walked out because there was like, I think like the big rat, I don't even know the names or whatever, but like was doing like some spiritual type stuff, and my parents took us out right away. And but like my parents are very like sheltered over what we watched for sure as children, and whereas we're not as good as they were. But there's a good balance. I think there's a good balance to that though. So
no, I came from a similar situation where, I mean, I'm a huge hip hop fan. I love hip hop music, but I wasn't really allowed to listen to it until a little bit later, which hindsight probably a little bit better for me. Not everybody will agree with that, but for myself, it's like, it was probably a good thing, because like a lot of what's being talked about, like for me, it was like, it's probably better that I was older and understanding a little bit more of what I was hearing. But it actually reminds me of a funny story involving a dad and a couple of kids. We went to this conference when I was maybe in early college or late high school. I can't remember. Probably early college. I was out in Stockton, and they had the break session. So everybody kind of went to this local like shopping mall area, and we're eating lunch and just hanging out. And there was a movie theater there, and me and a couple of buddies were just walking, and this dad just busts out of the theater doors and is like, oh my gosh, this is sick. I can't believe this. He's like, and he's looking at us, he's like, fellas, he's like, do you want these tickets? He's like, this is a sick movie. This is sick. Like, sure. Like, and he just handed us tickets with his 2, and the kids were probably like 3 and 4. I mean, young. Right. Like, what did this dude see? He took his kids to see Saw.
Oh, no way. Are you joking?
No, it's like, we're like, look at the tickets.
That movie's terrifying for me to watch, man.
So I'm saying, it's like, hey man, did you not look at the movie poster?
Exactly.
Someone's foot's cut off. What do you expect this is gonna be out? There's no unicorns in this movie. Dude,
my gosh.
Disney princesses. There's like just murder all the time. And I'm like,
so funny.
That dad was clearly not thinking. And you can even hear him down the street. Like he was like a block away. He's like, this is sick.
Well, I don't know. That's a funny reaction to something like that. Like you said, what were you expecting, right?
Yeah, so we turned the tickets in for a refund and then got his money.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it worked out well.
Oh, you got him his money.
No, we took his money. We took his money.
Oh, good. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, no, we justified it. Like he made a poor parenting decision. He doesn't deserve his money.
Exactly.
But definitely we took it out of his hand. Yeah, but no, it was just the funniest thing when we saw his reaction. Like, well, of course, man. Like, how long did you watch this movie before you took your kids out of it?
Totally.
Like 5 minutes, and the first head gets chopped off. It's like,
oh my gosh,
not what I wanted to see. But
those movies were crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Hey, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No.
Let me ask you this.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
The joys of Zoom, man.
It's
go ahead.
you.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'll go.
Yeah, go.
All right. So I think of you and I, we're both like, most people would say they've never seen us mad. Or like, I get that comment a lot. I know you've gotten that comment a lot because we're always like fighting over who's nicer.
Sure.
When we both work together at Capital, right? So
Yeah.
As a dad and even a husband, I know like our wives see different sides of us. You know, they know we're not as perfect as other people think we are. And they know our true selves.
For sure. Yeah.
But like as a dad, have there been moments in like your own reaction or character that you're like, man, I like your kids are revealing a certain temperament in you, like you like getting too angry or not as patient, or like does that come out much with you?
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
No, that's a funny thing, man. I think I went into this parenting thing thinking my greatest asset as a human being, as a man, as a person, is my calm demeanor, is my patience. And it's tested every single day. Like the patience is tested
every day. I thought
I'm not as patient as I thought.
Yeah, exactly. I tell my wife, I was like, I thought I was really patient until I have kids, and now just about every day I'm like, I'm being tested at this patience thing, and I'm failing.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you've done this before. I'll wake up in the morning and I'll be on, like, even on a run, right? Like we talked last time. Run, exercise, like it clears your mind. You feel good. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go on this run, and on the run, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be patient today. And as soon as I get back to the door, it's like, you know what?
I do the same stuff, man.
You clowns are killing me. I'm trying to be, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It happens all the time.
I can lose my temper so quick, and I wish it wasn't that way, but I think that's being a dad, right? I think that's just like normal struggles, and I think that it's more normal than we give credit to it, because they definitely just test your patience, know how to tick you off and get under your skin. Like, how many times I'm going to say the same thing to you, and you're not paying attention, you're not listening. You're like, oh, there's all those times that you'll just make your head spin and flip out. Like, it was funny today. Jude, we're driving back from the movies, and Jude was being really loud and obnoxious. Just like he was making farting sounds with his mouth, and he thought it was funny. And it was like funny at first, but it just kept going and going and going. We're like, Jude, stop. Okay, it's not funny anymore. Jude, stop. And kept going like for a good solid few minutes, like just kept doing it. And Mel's like, if you do it one more time, I'm going to spank you. I'm going to smack your leg. Right. And we spank. We do sometimes. I don't know if that's okay to say on here.
We'll find out, won't we? If I start getting 1-star reviews. It's like that Travis episode.
Bro, yeah. Hey, I went to another quick story. I was trying to be a police officer for a while, and I had to go through background stuff. And on the thing, on the thing, they asked, if you've ever like hurt your children or anything. And I was like, one time I pinched my kid's leg because I was driving in the car. I turned around and pinched their leg, and it left a bruise on the leg. And I like, my conscience felt like I had to put it on there, which probably didn't really need to, but I put it on there, and I didn't get in trouble, so we're good.
That's good.
I didn't get the job, but
it's like we can't have Travis Cole going around pinching criminals.
Yeah. But going back to my story. So he does it again, and Mel smacks his leg, and he's like, "Didn't hurt." And Jude, I was just like, I started laughing because it was hilarious. And Mel just like looks over at me, ticked off, like, you just want to hit him like twice as hard. But it's just funny how they know how to get under your skin. Like, how many times do I have to tell you no, and for you to listen to me? And I mean, that's just like the day to day. Like that's all the time right there.
Yeah, no, it's true, man. And it's those things. Well, so one of the things that's been happening lately, like, and we're trying to navigate this right now, is with our 2-year-old. Obviously, there's certain things that she just like loses her mind about when it comes to the other baby. Now, don't get me wrong. Anybody who's listening, she's actually done really good like accepting the new baby into the family. But there's just moments where she wants her mama's attention, and one of those times, it's the weirdest thing. One of those times is when Rachel has to feed the baby, and so she sees her feed the baby. She gets upset, and then she looks for me, not to like for comfort, but she tries to hit me. I'm like, hey, why are you trying to hit me? Or she'll like throw something. I feel like someone's abused dog. Like someone's like, where's the dog? I'm gonna kick it. And she's like, I'm mad at mama, but I'm gonna take it out on that guy over there. And it's like, what? Like, why?
Oh, man.
It's happened before. And the funniest thing is I'll be in the kitchen and I won't be interacting with her. And then I see all this happening from in the living room. And then I see her like looking around like, where is he?
That's hilarious.
I'm gonna go hit him. Like, why? And so it's like, hey, you can't hit me. And that's where, I've lost my patience before. It's like, hey, why you can't hit me? This is not okay. And so but it is tough though. I'm sure people always feel like their kids the smartest or the funniest or most athletic, but I feel like our 2-year-old is really funny, and her her comedic timing is just really good, and she's like roasted me a couple times by
that's
talking
awesome,
back.
dude.
Like, I don't know what to say.
Yeah,
you win.
That's the worst, man. Yeah, that's the worst when they get you and you try everything not to do to laugh in the middle of it, because they'll start to see me smirk and I'm like getting all mad. I'm like, oh, I'll just turn around real quick and bounce.
Yeah,
can't let them see that. Yeah,
I did it. I did it too. It was one time when Rachel was having a difficult time with her, and she said something, and then our daughter just repeated it back, and I just started laughing.
Nice.
I had to walk out of the room because I got the approval of my 2-year-old because she thought like, oh, dad finds this hilarious.
Yeah, exactly.
My wife Rachel was like, that's interesting.
Like,
you
grow up,
funny.
Josh. Yeah.
That's interesting. There's nothing funny about this. There was we were playing in the backyard the other day, and I'll do this thing where if I'll like fake her out, right, and I'll start doing something and then I'll stop and I'll say it was a fake, and she finds it hilarious. Well, the other day we have this like little kiddie pool in the backyard, and we started at one end of the yard, and I would run and then like lift her and like drop her in the pool, and she just loved it. So we just keep running back and forth.
Yeah.
Well, this one time I took one step and she went, and I just let go of her hand. I said it was a fake, and she thought it was hilarious. And so I'm like, okay. And then we took her to the pool and dropped her in. Well, then the next time we went back, I'm like, all right, ready, 1, 2, 3, go. And we start running. Well, she lets go of my hand. She's like, it was a fake. And then now I'm in the middle of the yard looking like an idiot because like she just did the same joke to me. It's like, that's not how it's supposed to work. Like, I'm supposed to do this.
Smart, man.
I know. And then I was like in tears laughing. It's like, all right, you got me. You got me. I wasn't expecting that. So it is fun.
That's
like
good,
that
man.
kind of stuff is a lot of fun. But yeah, it is a challenge when there's the disciplinary stuff, and it's also funny at the same time. It's like, don't laugh. It's happened with my brothers. My brothers have been over before, and you can see them like, hey guys, you don't have to pay for this. I do though. So maybe
exactly.
No more laughing about this. But
oh man.
But yeah, that's the biggest.
Man, those stages. Yeah, those stages are hard, man. I like now. I feel like like I said, I don't have any of this together, but and don't ever think like it'll be a continual learning experience as being a dad for sure. Just all the different stages. But I remember the stage of having, because ours were 2.5 years apart, our first from our second, and then our second from our third were 2.5 too. So the first time we had our second kid, Ella was 2.5, and she was going through a rough phase. Like she was challenging everything, like throwing fits left and right, like was at that stage where like you'd be in public and couldn't get her to stop just screaming and throwing a fit. And so it was like just dealing with those challenges was stressful, right? And then that stress, and then having that on your marriage, and then having the new baby, like all of that together can just be like one, like the one ingredient, like multiple ingredients for like a time bomb to go off, right? Like between Mel and I. So we found ourselves in like a really challenging spot in our marriage at that stage. That was like our worst, and found ourselves, like me, when I get upset or not happy with something, I tend to pull away. and just not be interactive with Mel. And like, that's how I get back at her. So I'm not like saying mean things to her or anything, but I'll just like completely remove myself from her and not give her any attention. And it drives Mel crazy because she's not that way. That's not how she communicates. And so yeah, anyways, it was super challenging for us, and we found ourselves that was like the first time we ended up getting like a counselor to help us through just that season of our lives. And it actually really helped big time, like super monumental part in our lives that like getting through it, we found ourselves like really united and really strong afterwards, where it didn't feel that way at the time. Right. Like it was really challenging. Every time we had to go to like a counseling session, I would just be like hating it, like nervous before going into it. And then at the end, you're like, oh man, that was really good. Like pull different things out of each one of us to really help the situation. And so that was one thing I wanted to say, just advocate for, if you need help, get help, because having kids can like bring a lot of tension in the home, and just between husband and wife, just because there's different things, that responsibilities you think one is going to take care of, and you might feel like you're doing more than the other one. And just those challenges can be easy to fight over. And but yeah, anyways, if it's never a bad thing to go and get extra help if you need it. We've always advocated for that, for sure.
Man, I think we probably just end the episode right there. We won't, but that we could.
No. Yeah.
That's good, man. I think. Yeah. It is an interesting thing, because I think, I don't know. I think you hear people talk about how there's challenges when you start having kids and you start building a family, how that's going to change different dynamics and different aspects of your marriage. But I think until you're actually in it, you don't really truly understand, right? Like you can read the books, you can hear people talk about it, and I don't think you don't really understand it until you're in it. And it's interesting too. I think it can kind of happen in different ways, right? Like you said, it could just be because you might be dealing with a really tense situation with your child. It kind of bleeds over into your marriage, and it causes tension there. Sometimes, and you hear stories all the time about people maybe placing so much focus, all of their focus and attention on their kids, which is awesome, but then they neglect the marriage side of it. And which can cause issues. But it's a weird situation, right? Because it's like it's hidden behind a really good thing. Like, hey, you love your kids and you want to spend time with them and you want to pour into them, but then there's other things that can kind of have a negative effect because of it if you're not finding a good balance. So it is an interesting thing, you know. And like I said, we're still early in it, but hearing like what you just said is important for, I think, someone like me, because I don't know. And I think you've mentioned this before about, maybe not, if this is not you, then I'm sorry, I'm giving Trav credit for something that someone else said, but it's, I think it's never too early to consider or think about counseling for a marriage, right? Because I think a lot of times what happens is people do it out of a situation where they said, okay, we need it because something happened, or the problem is so big that we need to do something. Where I think it'd be beneficial to even think like, hey, we might be in a great place, but like, could we still benefit from it? Because maybe it would reveal some things that we could sharpen even more. For sure. I don't know. I mean, what do you think about that?
Such good advice. Oh, totally, man. I at the end of it, I really like. I had never gone to counseling or a therapist for anything in my life before we got married, and I kind of had this like idea of it that it was like, if you went to counseling, like you were getting a divorce, like. It was like really frowned upon. Like that was just what I had in my mind, but it was all stuff just made up in my mind. Right. So after going to it, I realized how much it actually just helped me personally grow, and ultimately made us, like, we both completely grew and made us stronger and together. And at the end of it, I always told people, like, we kind of got to a place where we're like, I think we were slowly getting better and better and better. And we kind of felt we were at the point like we didn't need to keep going. But then we're like, man, this would actually be really good to go, like, just check in maybe once every 6 months or something like that. Right. Like just go sit down no matter where you're at. Like if you're at a really strong point, it's not going to hurt anything, but I'm sure you can bring up something that, you know, you might be struggling with in a relationship, and they can just really help walk you through it. And finding someone that you trust is really important. And I could give you someone to go to that we really like and has helped us a ton. And we referred other people to her, and she's amazing. If you're a Christian or not a Christian, she's great. But specifically, if you're a Christian, I think she has a lot of the same values and principles that you would be looking for, which is really cool. So
yeah, that's awesome.
But yeah, no matter where you're at, you can get good from it, and don't go into it with like this idea that you're all screwed up, because it actually is really beneficial. So it's a really positive thing.
Yeah. Well, I feel like, you know, I've gone to some counseling before, not for marriage stuff, but for just personal stuff. And you know, it's for me, it's like, I have a weird mentality towards it, but I always felt like I don't see the big deal with it, just for me personally, but I understand why people would have hesitancy when it comes to that.
Right.
But I think for me, I've always looked at it like, and I was just having this conversation with my wife a little while ago. I always look at it like maybe from like the athletic perspective, right? It's like you're training almost, and
totally.
You might be a great athlete and you could go compete and maybe be okay, maybe win the game, maybe not, but why not? If you have the opportunity to go see a trainer that can help you build and develop your strength, if you could have someone that can point out the weaknesses in your game, then you should probably go do that, because it's going to make you even better. But it's like, I don't think we look at it the same way a lot of times. You know
totally.
I don't know.
That's a great analogy for sure. I like that concept. Definitely.
Yeah. But, and, you know, kind of, I guess to bring it kind of, because this is not a marriage podcast, but hey man, maybe we'll do that next time. I don't know.
I didn't mean to go to marriage, but I think just have the kids definitely play a big role in your marriage and just family life and how you lead and whatnot, for sure. So.
Right. But that being said, though, I'm glad you brought that up, because again, I was having this conversation with my wife. I say we have conversations. It's probably me talking a lot towards her, but she may not think it's a conversation. But you know, we were talking and kind of about this same thing, and like placing an emphasis on your marriage. It could seem like you could say it seems like a selfish thing. It's like, hey, the kids, you know, maybe are causing some tension. But really, if you have the right mindset, I feel like, and you've been married a lot longer than I have, it feels like you're actually also doing that for the benefit of your kids, because if your marriage is
100%,
then the family is gonna be less tense. It's gonna be
big time.
a stronger unit, and then they're gonna see an example of a really healthy marriage, rather than maybe one that was just on the brink of just completely crumbling apart. So for me, it's just like it's a matter of shifting your mindset. It's like, oh yeah, no, like everything you just said about how it affects marriage, that still ties into being a dad. That still ties into being a parent, because
it does, definitely.
All of those things in that family dynamic are going to affect each other for the good or the bad, and it's kind of depends on your decisions and how you handle those things.
I love what you said. I 100% agree. Is like, if that marriage is tight and strong, it flows down to the kids, and you're more patient with the kids. You're more patient with each other. But you're right, 100%. If that marriage is strong, that goes everywhere else, and it brings peace in the home for sure. And I think makes you a better parent, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, I wanted to ask you this, because you know, the more I think about, like, I don't know your dad very well at all, but I have a general idea of his demeanor. He seems pretty easygoing and you know, low key, very similar to my pops. He's probably not as low key as my dad. My dad's also Japanese.
He's really low key.
That cultural thing too. But you know, that being said, what do you feel like is your when you look back at like your childhood growing up with your dad, what do you feel like is one of the things you took away from him? Because I'll say for myself, for my dad, I think the thing that I've taken away from him, you know, some days I'm like, I think I'm pretty patient like him. There's other days where I'm like, I don't know if I'm as patient as he is. But the thing I always took away is he always showed up, right? Like he was not, the biggest with the words. We're not gonna have like crazy deep talks. But he never missed a baseball practice. He always coached my teams. He never missed a school function. He was always there taking pictures. So now we have this collection of memories and photos and videos from our childhood because he was always there doing those things.
It's amazing.
It's like, even as an adult, like if I don't know how to do something around the house, I'm like, hey man, can you help me figure this out? Now I'm gonna be
That's cool.
I know you're not listening, but if you were, just know we have messed things up here. I'm not blaming you, but you did have a hand in some of those things. But always down to help with that stuff. And even when I was working with you at Capital, or after you and I, we kind of went a different direction, and I was still working in that area. I didn't want to drive that stupid box truck. I can't drive a stick shift. So he was always like, he's like, I'd love to help you out, and he would help me out with those things. So the example that he said, as far as just always being willing to show up, was huge. Right. So
totally.
I don't know how you feel. What example your dad said?
Man, man. I relate very much with you. I think, especially at a young age, I didn't have a lot of. I don't think back and think I had a lot of conversations with my dad, but he was very consistent in the way that he treated us. And he was like when you say showed up to every game and everything you did, my dad was the exact same. Like, I don't remember him ever missing a game ever. And I never wanted to take that for granted too. Like, I remember I would thank him, like when I was in high school, he would, he would come down on the field at the end of a football game or something. I'd be like, thanks dad. Thanks mom and dad for coming. And I always liked showing them that I appreciated it. And he's like, of course, he's like, this is what I look forward to, but it's just a special thing. I had friends on the team that didn't have a dad or didn't show up to the game, and would find an excuse maybe not to maybe they come to half the game. So just being appreciative was always something that I always had, and even still to this day, thank him just for showing up at different things. And but yeah. I can relate 100%, and I don't know I don't know exactly where I'm going with this anymore. But I had a thought in my mind, but I lost it.
Hey man, welcome to the podcast world. It happens all the time. I lose 5 thoughts every episode. So I do want something you said though reminded me of this though. This is way back in the day before you and I knew each other. But at Capital they used to do those Saturday flag football leagues. And, and I remember I was at one of the games because our team was getting ready to play, I think after you guys were playing. And we were just on the sideline.
My dad showed up?
Yeah, he definitely showed up. He doesn't listen to this. It's fine. This made me respect him so much more as an athlete. I'm like, that was awesome. But I forgot exactly what happened, but you were involved in some play, and I don't think they threw the flag. And your dad felt like they should have. And I'm like, we just heard this voice just yell across the field, like, who was that? And we saw it was him.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
We weren't expecting that. So like you said, I've been there when you showed up and he was ready to fight for you, which was awesome.
Yeah, for sure. He's always been that way. And it's been really cool with my relationship with my dad is that as I've gotten older and being in my adult ages, we've got a really unique, cool relationship where I didn't really have that as growing up. Not that it was a bad relationship at all, but just communicating more and talking more and sharing what we're going through and struggling with, and just being there for one another, and him speaking words of encouragement towards me where I didn't get that a lot as a child. Well, he would definitely was never speaking down on me ever. I don't remember him ever a time of that. But just in my adulthood, just encouraging me that he sees really cool, characteristics that he sees in me, or how I'm parenting or how I'm being a dad or a husband, and just cool moments like that. And feel way closer now at this stage of my life than I did even as a child, which is a really cool relationship that I value highly these days. Because, as parents get older, my dad is, I think he's close to 65, and it's I don't anticipate him going anywhere anytime soon, but at the same time, you're at an age where something could happen. And so just being able to make these memories this stage in our lives and just having a really close bond is really special for me, and I know it's special for him too. And you were saying something about how your dad always showed up for you, like, you couldn't drive a stick shift, so he would come and help you out. What was important to you, he made important to him, to
Sure.
like to make you feel special, and just to be there for you. And it's funny because like later in life, I got really into tennis. I went through a season where I loved playing tennis, and I started watching professional tennis, and I started following one guy, Rafa Nadal. He's like one of the top in the world, and became like I loved him. I would pay attention to every tournament he was in, and following him so much. And my dad never cared a lick about tennis, but I started talking to him about tennis and talking to him about Rafa, and it's so funny because like slowly but surely he got really into it. Now he's more into it than I am. Like he follows him. He's texting me about him. So it's just cool. Like, my interest became his, which just makes it really special to be able to relate at that level. Right. So he's always looking for ways that we can relate and bond together. And that's one quirky little thing, but I think it's awesome. I love it. So
no, that's really cool, man. Yeah, no, I that's such a good, such a cool thing, man. Especially, when you were able to. I think it's a fun thing connecting over something you love too.
Definitely.
And so when you can connect, it doesn't get extra. Like I love baseball. My dad's coached me my entire life.
Right.
He loves baseball, so it's still a fun experience going to like a Giants game with him. You know what I mean? Or going to River Cats game, whatever it may be, and being able to even you're not even really saying that much, but just watching the game and then maybe making fun of a decision the manager made on the drive home, whatever it may be. But
for sure,
like you said, it's such a simple thing, but when they show that they are interested in the thing that you're interested in, it's I think it speaks volumes for sure.
Yeah, it does.
And I think
my dad.
Dang it! I'm telling you, man, the joys of Zoom. This gets us every time.
No, I was just gonna say another example. My daughter, like at the beginning of COVID, got into TikTok, like every child did, I think, or like teenage kid.
Okay.
Got into really TikTok, like TikTok stuff, and I hated it. Like I despised doing a TikTok. Like my wife Mel would pull me into it and do them here and there, and then so would Ella, and like always hated it. But I'm like, you know what? This is like, she would try and get me to do these like dancing ones with her, and I'm like, as much as I hate it, it's like it means a lot to her, and I would just step up and do it. And I know, like looking back, like 10 years from now, I'm like, these videos are awesome. I love them, and it'll be special to her too. So, for sure. But it's just one of those things that like that's the last thing I want to do is a TikTok video because this is not my thing.
Right.
But just trying to be there and be intentional to support them in what they like is valuable for sure. So.
Oh yeah, I'm still a little ways from that type of thing specifically, but I know the one thing that my daughter and I bond on that she just loves, and it's my fault. I started this, and it turns out she loves it. So she loves just spinning around, and so I'll take her by the hands and just spin her, and she can do this for days. Like I'm sure there's some science behind it. Kids don't get dizzy. Guess what? Me, I get dizzy. I'm like. I'm gonna crash into like the chair, the table.
Yeah,
I can't. The room's spinning. I can't see straight. In fact, I fall down now, pretend like I'm playing, just so I can take a break. I'm like, oh, come find me.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to throw up, and so there's moments where it's like, I don't know if my body can take this anymore. But again, like you said, it's like she loves it, and even if years down the road she's not gonna remember it, we'll remember these moments where she's just having a blast.
Oh, for sure,
and laughing hysterically. So. Even if I throw up all over the living room, or the backyard, it'll be worth it.
That's good.
It'll be worth it. Dang, now I had a thought, but I completely.
Oh no, you're good. Sorry, Winna.
No, it's okay. That's what a podcast is for. I can't remember. I'm sure I had something, but let me ask you. So let me ask you this one more thing, because this is something that I've thought a lot about before. Well, actually, no. Two more things. I kind of alluded to this earlier, but I feel like for me personally, becoming a dad has just made me more emotional towards, especially when I see like a movie, even some commercials.
Oh yeah,
I've seen some commercials.
Oh,
like Here Come the Waterworks. And
Bro,
I just can't help
movies
it,
will get me big time. Yeah.
dude. And I'm telling you, there's two movies, and I've said this on this podcast before. Two movies that really got me. One was right before she was born, our first child, and then the other one was right after she was born. The first, they sound funny when you say these two movies, but the first one was Creed 2, and I was watching.
Nice.
I don't know if you've seen that movie, but
I haven't,
okay.
but
Well,
yeah.
he has a baby
That's
daughter in that movie,
Oh
and
man.
the baby has a hearing issue because his wife or his girlfriend at the time has this hearing thing, and so they're kind of like hoping that the baby wouldn't get that as well, but then they found out that she did have it, and so you just see him like the baby's just crying hysterically, and he's just like struggling. I'm like, oh gosh, this is what's coming for me. I'm just
Totally.
this is gonna happen. Like
It's
in
so
the
easy
theater.
to put yourself. Yeah.
And I wasn't even a dad at that point. Like we were just like a month or two away. It's like this is coming. And then when I saw that, I don't know if you're into the Avengers Marvel movies, but when I saw Avengers Endgame and that last one, and I saw that Tony Stark had a daughter, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna something bad's gonna happen in this movie, and it's gonna make me cry.
Oh
But,
man.
do you feel like that's happened to you? Because I don't know what you're like.
For sure.
You know, I had no problem crying before that, but like now it's like now it happens.
Yeah.
You know, it'll just catch me off guard at any moment.
My daughter is really sensitive, so she's very emotional and like has like the sweetest heart. And but yeah, so there was a couple movies. One, The Lion King, when the dad dies, like she hates it. She can't watch it. She cries.
Yep.
It makes me cry when I see her cry. Like they just lost their dad. And then there's another one. I think it's called, I haven't watched it for a while. I think it's called Good Dinosaur. Does that ring a bell? I think it's called Good Dinosaur.
Oh yeah.
It's a Disney movie. And the dad dies of the dinosaur like in a waterfall, and he saves the baby dinosaur. And
right.
Yeah, she hates those movies because the dad dies, but it always like chokes me up too if I'm sitting there watching with her. So there's moments like that where anytime even if I watch like adult movies without my kids in the room, and there's this like a special father-daughter or father-son moment, you know, it always gets to me, man. You just always put yourself in their position, and you imagine your kid, and it gets you every time. It gets me every time.
Every time. And especially those Disney movies, man. They just want to take someone out in every movie. It's like, hey, stop murdering people in these movies. They're kid movies. Trying to make me sad.
Exactly.
And
I know.
One of them made my sister pretty sad. It was that Big Hero 6 movie. With the robot. And
same, yeah.
Well, that's because the older brother who died, his name was Tadashi. Yeah. Well, that's my middle name. And so my sister watched that. She's like, oh, the older brother died. His name's Tadashi. Like, just messed her up. Like, so Disney, stop killing people.
Your middle name?
Yeah, Tadashi, yeah. But yeah, we have
what is that? What's that stand? Like, what would be a translation for that? Or like maybe a meaning, or is there like an English translation, or no?
Good question. I can't remember. I should know.
Yeah.
That's embarrassing.
No.
I feel like I'm laying down.
I don't know anything about my I don't know anything about my name. Don't worry about it.
Perfect. Yeah. I know my last name means waterfall, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. I took a Japanese class at Sierra College, and I was literally the only person in the class who had any Japanese blood in their body.
Wow.
And I was by far the worst in the class. The professor looked at me he was like this little Japanese guy, looked at me with such disappointment. Like, he heard Takimoto, and he's like, oh my gosh, there's a Japanese kid in this class. And then he heard, like, he wanted me to repeat something. And I just looked at him with a blank look, like, I don't know what you're saying. And then I took him the second year too, and he's like, oh no, not him. I didn't want to. That's
hilarious.
But I've looked it up before. My mom has a baby name book with like all the Japanese baby names. Like our kids have Japanese middle names. Me and my siblings have Japanese middle names. So it's kind of a cool thing that we wanted to pass on.
I love that.
It's a cool thing. That's something that was really important to me. But yeah, anyways, with Tadashi in that Big Hero 6 movie, my sister's like, have you seen this? This is awful. Like, yeah, I did. I did see it, and I got taken out. So that's
the sad part too, man. I remember that too.
I'm telling you, Disney. That's the thing with Disney. Disney does those sad moments. Like
They do.
you watch Up,
They
that
get
whole
your
first part
emotions,
of Up.
man. Yeah.
Like, that's awful. It's like a
It
beautiful
is.
sequence of events, but then you see how it ends, and like
Yeah.
we're 5 minutes in the movie.
Yeah.
Incredibly sad.
I know.
Dang, I lost my thought again. That's what's just gonna happen.
No, you're good,
I keep
man.
losing my thoughts. Did you have any other like funny stories that come to the top, like come off the top of your head? I'm sure you have a ton.
Yeah, I mean, it's so funny because like we have, I swear there's like crazy funny stories all the time. There was one that came to mind recent. Well, it wasn't recently. It was a few years ago, but I was biking with we were biking around our neighborhood, and we were coming up to a stoplight. They had to go across the street on a crosswalk, and Ella is riding a bike, and then Brooklyn and Jude, I was carrying him in like a child seat carrier because this was Brooklyn could have rode a bike, but he wasn't riding it very fast at that time. So
Sure.
He was like in the child thing that attached to my bike off the back end. And we were coming up to a crosswalk, and it said it was our turn to go. The light had turned red, and then the crosswalk said we could go. And Ella was in front of me on the sidewalk. So I was like, go ahead. And so she starts going. And then all of a sudden I see this car not stop. Like they're going really fast and not slowing down to slow down before they got to us. So I'm like, Ella, stop. She's like in the middle. It's a three lane. It's actually a 6-lane street. So it was a really big intersection, but it was on our side where we were going. And she was like in the middle lane. And this car just slams on their brakes, screeches, goes halfway through the middle of the crosswalk. And had Ella not listened to me, there's a good chance she could have gotten hit. I don't know how hard or, whatnot, but I just got ticked off, hopped off my bike and just slammed the hood of their car, was yelling at them. I think I cussed at one time at them. Yeah. And I don't, this probably was like the first time I ever said a cuss word in front of my kids. And, but yeah, just really mad. And then I just hopped on the bike and we kept going. And we get like the rest of the way, we had like another 10 minutes before we got home. Nobody said a single word like until we got home. And we get home and Ella's like, Dad, you said a bad word back there and like yelled at those people. You like, Jesus probably isn't happy about that. And I'm like, oh man, you're right. Jesus isn't happy about that. I was like, Ella, I need to ask for forgiveness because Daddy made a mistake. I let my emotions get the best of me. So yeah, there's those moments when you're I don't know, she was maybe 7 at the time where she's like being a better parent than I was being.
That's the man.
But
we didn't talk about that.
Yeah.
That's one of the worst things too, is when obviously you got called out like on a whole nother level by your daughter, but the whole idea of them repeating what you say, or you having to be more careful about what you say. Like I'm just, right. I've said this before. I'm not, I've jokingly cussed more as like a shock right. thing to people, but like I didn't grow up around it, so it's just not something I'm just like, it's just not naturally in me. I play
for sure. I'm the
life.
same.
I'm used to it, but like, I've just never been.
Yeah.
It's not naturally coming out of me. Not that being said, I do have 2 brothers, and I've grown up around sports my whole life. So not that I cuss, but I do say other things that not that you want your daughter to repeat. And I remember the first time she said something. I was watching a sports game, and I did not agree with the call that was on the field, and I said something, and she's like, "Ooh, you're right.
Yeah,
don't say that again." And then it's like, "Dang, I got it." Yeah. Rachel looked at me like, "I can't believe you just said that in front of her." It's like, "Yeah, now I know." Like we're all allowed.
There'll be more.
Yeah. I can't help myself, but it's like she used it in the right context. Like I can't be mad at her for that.
That's good. She's picking up early, man.
Yeah, but
smart.
Yeah, it's just like, man, I gotta watch a little bit more. But I remember one time, like I said, we don't watch a ton of TV during the day unless it's like sports and stuff like that. But we just don't watch a ton of TV during the day. And then she can like watch, maybe one of her like Blue's Clues or one of her movies in the evening as things are kind of winding down. But I remember when she was younger, and it was kind of getting to that point where she was starting to see what was on the screen. I turned the TV on, and we try to like have it on safe channels so that way if we ever turn the TV on, it's either on sports or like the cooking channel or HGTV.
Yeah.
That way we're not gonna be surprised. Well, Dad forgot to switch it, and I was watching some action movie before, and all of a sudden like I turned the TV on, and then boom, like Denzel Washington blasts him in the face. I'm like, oh no, what? And my daughter's like looking at the screen, like, what did I do?
Yeah.
Like,
what is that?
Yeah, and I mean the timing could not have been worse. This man just got his face blown off, and my my 1-year-old daughter saw it at the time. She was fine, but
that's funny. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, so last question, man, I have for you, and then I know we're running a little bit late, so I apologize for that. That's what happens when these things get sidetracked. But I feel like you are in this same boat with me. Maybe I'm wrong, but you guys are pretty active. I've seen you guys at Disneyland. You guys have been at water parks, all that stuff. I feel like when I go to those places, even as a 32-year-old man, especially with the GoPro in my hand, I tend to get in trouble. Like lifeguards typically look at me and they're like, hey, they get the head shake. Parents look at me like you're too old to do that. Let me ask you a question. I get the sense that you're probably in the same boat. Like you seem like a dude that's going to backflip somewhere that you shouldn't be backflipping.
100%. This just happened. You're
that dad.
So, big time.
Okay,
there was we're gonna break as many rules as we can when we go to these places. Not because we just want to piss people off, but just we want to have fun, right? Like some of the rules are ridiculous. But anyways, we were just in Hawaii. They're like no
GoPros at a pool. Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
no GoPros.
Exactly.
Why did I come here? Like that? You guys clearly don't follow me on Instagram. That's all I do. Go ahead.
We were recently in Hawaii, and around the pool there was these like good sized rocks that they say don't jump off of, but why else have rocks all surrounding your pool if you don't want kids to jump off the rocks, right?
That's a great point.
So there's like there's like 4 different pools, and they each connect to each other, but there's like big rocks that are in the middle of them, and you can jump, or you're not supposed to jump off them, but we were doing it the whole day. There was these teenager kids that they were probably like 12, 13, and these 2 boys just kept repeating jumping off of it in front of some people that were just chilling on the side, not workers, but just yelling at them, stop, you're not supposed to be jumping off the rocks, like getting mad at them. And I was like, boys, come here. We're going to go around and we're going to go and jump off this rock. And we sat there, and Mel's like, oh no, like, Trav, don't do it. Like, just to make her mad. I was like, she's not going to tell me not to jump off these rocks. And I was like trying to stand up for those kids that were over there. By the time we got there, they had left because the lady was yelling at them. But we hopped up there. I did the biggest cannonball I could do. My 2 boys, like at 5 and 7, jumping off, screaming. Like we kept doing it. We probably did it like 5 times in a row. And the people all that were like sitting by Mel were laughing because they saw what was going on. But I'm just like, man, like just don't be a punk. Like I wouldn't have cared to go do that at all. But if you're gonna sit there and try and overstep your grounds and tell people what to do, then they weren't being bad. They're jumping off a rock into a pool. They're doing something really bad and harmful to other people or to themselves. I get it, but it was like nothing.
You were standing up
crazy
for
people.
You were standing up for justice. That's what was happening. There's nothing wrong.
Exactly, it was. I have a big heart for that kind of thing. So
okay. So the answer to the question is yes. You are that dad.
Yeah.
Good. I'm not
definitely
because like I said, we've gotten in plenty of trouble with the GoPro.
Yeah,
it's happened multiple times. There's one time
that's funny. Yeah, the GoPro rules are funny.
Yeah, I mean, I get it to a certain. Sometimes I get it. Like on a roller coaster, I'm like, that seems
dumb. So you're not
like,
dropping it. Yeah,
because it could kill someone. Like,
fair
enough.
Right.
Good
exactly.
Rule. And then, but yeah, at the water park, like I get it to a certain extent. Like you don't want some dude walking in there like filming other people. It's like I said, hey, look at my Instagram. I film myself the whole time. I'm very It's a very arrogant page.
For sure.
I get it. It's fine. And so, but yeah, there was one time.
Fun. You got fun photos, man.
Thank you.
It's not arrogance at all. I think it's just it's good. You're being creative. You're photographing like your activities. I think it's cool.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm gonna take that compliment.
Yeah.
And I try my best. But yeah, no, there's been plenty of times where now I feel like my brother and I have a setup. It's like, is the lifeguard looking? Like, go, 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 go. And then
Yeah.
we see if we can get as many
Exactly.
as possible, and usually get shut down at some point. But
yeah.
so hey man, this has been a lot of fun. I appreciate you doing this.
Sure.
So one thing, like before we wrap up here, we always do the connection suggestion. So I don't know if you have a suggestion out there that people can, a person, organization, whatever it may be, a brand, something that people can follow that would maybe help people be a little bit more aware of.
For sure. I lately I've been really inspired by like a few different pastors. Like I try to pick up on different things to learn from them. And one of the things that I've few of the people that I really have enjoyed lately are just the classic, like the normal TD, like Bishop TD Jakes. Like I've been paying attention to a lot of the stuff that he's been doing, and just absolutely love it. Just his way of leading through challenging times has been really cool. And then also Stephen Furtick. These aren't like little guys by any means. They're like at the top of their game, and when it comes to like pastoral, ministry type stuff, but just so solid minded and really helped me through just processing different things in the Bible and just how to lead. And I don't know, I find anytime I get done like either watching the sermon or listening to them on a podcast or just different settings, I like YouTube videos, interviews and stuff like that. I always learn something from them. And anytime I find myself stuck or like I know I should be turning to the Bible, and I do that. But I also like to hear how leaders respond to different challenging subjects and tough times, like I think we're all kind of going through or we've gone through in the past year. So I've turned to those two guys a lot recently, and I feel like I learned from them a lot. So I'd highly recommend them.
Awesome. I love it. Mine is he's a YouTube, I guess, personality. He's a YouTube influencer, a social media influencer. His page is called Beleaf In Fatherhood, and he's a hip hop artist, and he does a bunch of stuff. Awesome. But he still does music, but he kind of turned his attention towards basically documenting his fatherhood journey.
Awesome. Very cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool seeing like where he started and now where he's at. Like at one point, they did like an iPhone competition, and his kid was on billboards everywhere. And then he's been in different like Apple. There's that Apple show Dads. He was featured in that, and he's been just kind of blown. Wow. But, really cool to follow his stuff's just, it's a lot of fun. He's got some apparel and some different things. Actually, my wife just got some apparel for herself and for our daughter.
Cool.
From his
what's the guy's name?
So it's Beleaf,
what's his name?
Beleaf In Fatherhood. So it's BELEAF in Fatherhood. Okay. And on Instagram it's BELEAFMEL. So yeah, I would definitely, it's a fun YouTube channel, especially if you're a dad. I love that stuff. A parent in general, but if you're a dad, like it's definitely a fun YouTube page to check out, because
very cool.
It's hilarious watching him interact with his kids and that whole journey.
That's awesome.
I would definitely recommend that.
Very cool. I'll check it out.
Yeah, for sure. So that's all we've got. So Trav, thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me again. And
we'll see how long it takes for Trav to come back to the podcast. At this rate,
two times in a week.
I know.
I can't come back for a while, man. They're gonna get tired of it. They're going.
I don't think so. Deb might be getting a little bit nervous, though. She might be getting a little.
I know, man. I didn't know if Deb was gonna be here. But I guess with our subject, it's probably better to have just the dads do it.
Probably, and I just didn't want.
I think it's appropriate.
So I'm just kidding.
You got a good relationship with it.
Yeah. I joke with her. She's like a cousin to me. Like a cousin, it's like it's fun to see him at first, and then after a while, it's like we're both kind of sick of each other, and we just kind of show up at the Christmas get together because we have to. So, all right, man. Well, Thanks, Trav,
thanks,
again,
Steve, for
man.
having me again.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah,
and,
of course.
Shout out to all the fathers. Happy Father's Day to all you guys.
Yep. Happy Father's Day.
Keep doing your thing and keep inspiring your families and leading and all that stuff. So we appreciate you guys.
For sure.
All right.
Good stuff.
See ya.
Peace.
Thanks for watching the show. If you enjoyed that episode, make sure you like it, share it, and hit the subscribe button to get a new episode every week. We'll see you next time on the Connectable Podcast.